I'm wearing the same thing as last week. Hi, everyone.
Hi. I think that that's the uniform. So
Yeah. I mean, I'm almost 37 weeks, so that's my excuse. I don't need another one.
you don't need an excuse for anything.
I'm packing my hospital bag this weekend.
I know. I got to get you your car seat.
Yeah. I need a car seat.
I know. So what's up?
So I've officially stopped doing like strength working outs.
The fact that you're working out at all.
I went to prenatal yoga, which was pretty much, shavasana, squats, and the downward dogs were even a little much for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I decided to eat a breakfast burrito 10 minutes before. And I think it was one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah. That sounds like a barf incident waiting to happen.
The whole time I was burping
Gross.
and smelling it.
Yeah.
That's my only update. I don't really have
just
any
got
updates.
no
and
more
I've been up
space.
since 3 a.m. So
I don't envy you. I'll tell you that. Someone asked me yesterday, they were like, are you going to have a third? And I was like, I don't even want to talk about it.
can I just say, and I will die on this hill.
Okay.
Pregnancy tired is worse than newborn tired. However, I will allow an argument for pregnancy tired being potentially just as bad as 3 to 4 month old infant tired. Yeah. I will allow for that argument, but newborn, I won't allow for the argument. They sleep so much.
Totally.
I can't wait.
You are going to just be like,
I can't wait.
Lounging with the baby on your chest and have your body back to yourself, which brings us to our topic today, which is reconnecting to yourself postpartum, which is just.
And I love this submission. Someone submitted that to us.
Yeah. And just a postpartum in general. People want to hear about postpartum. And I second that, because going into postpartum, like, you just don't know what to expect. And also you're just like, who am I? And I will say, like, you look in the mirror and you're just like, what happened to me? You just no longer.
It's earth shattering.
I don't have a skincare routine anymore. And like, I wash my hair. Like, people will be like, I wash my hair on Saturdays and Thursdays. And I'm just like, when was the last time I washed my hair? Just like all those things go out the window. Well, at least for me, like, I can't speak for everybody. In my experience. And then you get out of sort of this like learning phase where you're learning how to breastfeed, you're learning how to take care of your baby, you're learning how to do all of these things and like figuring it out. And then you're like, wait, I'm a person. Who am I?
Yeah.
It's just a big transition, and transitions are hard. And learning about what you care about again and realizing the stuff that you did before you might not care about anymore, or you do. There's certain things where I'm like, I have to work out, not for like my body for vanity reasons anymore, but just like to have a minute to myself, to get some endorphins flowing, to have a second that's mine, right? Yeah. I do all of these things at home now that like I like to get ready in the morning and put on a mascara, and I like to put on earrings because it makes me feel good. But like, those aren't like my own. Like, my kids are hanging on me, and like, I'm trying to hurry up so we can get out the door. To me, exercising is like, I have an hour to myself. I get to go in the car by myself, and I'm not listening to a screaming baby, and I'm not listening to kid music. That's me time. And through two postpartums, I have found that is my self-care in so many facets, not just the fact of exercising, but just like getting out of the house by myself.
That's definitely the first thing I ever did alone. Postpartum.
And I feel like for other people, like my cousin, she has found that she really likes coloring and doing like adult crafts and needlepoint, and she has these little things that she's like, this is my hour to myself, I go do this by myself. And it's just like figuring out what that is for you, because before I had kids, like, I'm not gonna lie, my things that I like to do for myself were like going out to brunch with my friends and drinking. No longer care about doing that as much, and like, I no longer have the capacity to do that, because like, I am a mom and I can't be hungover, and I definitely can't come home drunk and take care of my children. So like, had to find a new hobby.
Yeah. I was not into romance fantasy or romance novels in general. I didn't have a Kindle until I was a mom.
Yeah.
And that's it's like a big part of my identity now, is that I actually read a lot.
Yes.
I started that when I was still with my baby breastfeeding up at night. And I still felt like even though my baby was on me, it was still a way for me to kind of reclaim a different part of my identity.
Yeah.
And I really had to do away with the doom scrolling and replace it with something that was enhancing my life. And it really changed the game for me postpartum. And it can't be understated. When it's 2 a.m. and I'm breastfeeding an infant postpartum, I don't need to see what this influencer is doing in a bikini on the beach in a different country,
or like all of the mommy content being like 5 things that are gonna ruin your baby's life. You know, I don't need that. I need escapism. And like the romance fantasy, or like the fantasy, or even I like historical fiction too. In our society, so much stuff is just like about us. Right. And like you're thinking like, what about me? Like, what about my baby? Like, what do I need to worry about? What are all these things about me? And like me.
Right.
And like to sort of get some perspective and like step out of that is really refreshing, I think, for your brain. I like audiobooks sometimes too. I'll just put one AirPod in when I'm at home with my daughter and just like listen to an audiobook. And like sometimes I can't listen to that stuff because I hate the person reading the story and I hate their voice. But that's just like another option. Sometimes you don't always sit down and read, but I also pack my Kindle in my diaper bag. And if we're going to the playground or something, and obviously it's disruptive, but you can still like catch a peek, right? A book, read a few pages. And I also think that has taught me, like, because I have rigid thought patterns, to let go of rigidity. Like I would think, oh, if I'm going to sit down to read a book, like I need an hour to myself and like blah, blah. I have now like learned to let go of some of that rigidity and be like,
because as a mother,
you can't,
you have to
let go of some of that rigidity.
One of the biggest, I feel like, identity shifts that mothers have is that the fluidity it takes to be a mother,
and the flexibility
and the autonomy that you lose
is,
I think, the biggest earth shattering. It is just like you cannot explain to a single person what it is like to all of a sudden overnight lose the ability to pick up a bag and be like, bye. It sounds so simple.
And it takes a long, or in my case, a long time to not only accept that that's your new reality, but also adjust to figuring out how to still be a person and not just a slave to your child, a slave to the household, but be like, we can actually sit outside in the backyard and I can read a book and I don't have to be entertaining my kid the entire time. I don't have to be interacting with them the whole time. And I will say a recommendation for a book that I think that you and I have both read is Hunt, Gather, Parent.
I love that book.
Because they talk about parenting in other countries and parenting back in the day, hundreds and thousands of years ago. One thing that stuck out to me is like, they tell you, try this out. Try to not talk to your kid, because everybody's always telling you, talk to your kid, narrate the day so they learn about language. And I used to be obsessed with like talking to my kid like 100% of the time. And it's just like, shut up. I'm tired of listening to myself. But they tell you, try to not talk to your kid for an hour without you initiating conversation. And see how hard it is, because you want to interject. You want to be like, good job, but let them explore. Give them some autonomy. I remember texting my cousin when my son was like 15 months old and being like, oh my God, this is so hard. I can never look away. And she was like, well, why can't you look away? And I was like, well, what if he puts something in his mouth and chokes and dies? And she was like, okay, that's a little bit
valid.
Like, yes, but also that's a little bit nuts.
Right.
Like,
I love those videos where it's like bringing back parental contribution in the 90s. It's like a mom bringing out carrots and being like, hey, bye, have fun.
Literally.
And now it's like this production.
I've like really been trying to be more 90s style. My parents would just literally tell me, go outside and do not come back in.
Go outside and play. Come back at dinner. Totally.
Just in the backyard. This is actually your outside time. Do not come back in. So I started just telling my kids, it's time to go outside. They're 1.5 and 4. And I'm like, go outside. Because some of the best advice that I've ever gotten was to make your house safe and make your yard safe so that you don't have to say no, so that you don't have to constantly be watching, because then you're not worried about safety. Obviously things happen, kids fall, toddlers fall, sure. And I'm not saying I leave the house and like let them fend for themselves. Good luck, raise yourself. I'm just saying we can unclench a little bit. And I only say that because I had to learn that lesson. And as soon as I did and started practicing that, I was able to find myself again postpartum.
Yeah.
Because I was able to then do a few things for myself.
Totally.
Sit outside at a table while my kids play and read my book.
And there's this misconception that refinding yourself and being comfortable with your new identity and stuff, you have to be separate from your kids to do that.
Totally.
And I think the unclenching and letting go is a big part of that. I reclaimed a little bit of my new identity through finding my love for books.
Yeah.
My infant was still on me, but it was this rebirth of myself. And I like forgot how much I love reading, like helped me so much. So I just think like, it doesn't always have to be separate. And actually one of the biggest things that I hate that floats around social media a lot is like her whole identity is being a mom. I don't want my whole identity to be a mom. It's just such a negative narrative.
Or like kids are selfish. They don't care about you. They leave.
Yes.
You should not like invest your whole life in being a mother because they're going to leave you and like blah, blah. I like being a mom.
I just think that it puts such a negative spin on motherhood and the impact of raising children and how important it is.
Well, how much fun it is.
How you don't always have to expect these amazing grand things in return for being a good mother.
And you can enjoy it and not lose yourself and still be like, yeah, most of my identity is being a mom because I am a mom and I love being a mom, but I also have things that I like to do too. It pits moms against each other, right? Working moms, stay-at-home moms, moms who are like trad wives versus moms who are like doing stuff for themselves and have all these hobbies. Can we all just recognize that there's nuance?
I just saw a video of a mom being like, when you spend your whole pregnancy figuring out how you're going to be like a boss and like a mom that's working, and then like the minute baby comes out, you're like, how can I be a trad wife?
Yeah.
And I was like, I get what you're saying.
Totally.
And what you're saying, sure, it makes sense.
Yes.
But the way you're saying it is saying that all moms that want to stay home with their children are trad wives.
Right.
And like, let's just like nix that narrative
it's
right
just all
now.
the labels and it's all the saying like it's one or the other.
So sick of it.
I don't fit in a box. I'm also just figuring it out. Also, it's just so much noise. Think about parenting 30 years ago.
It adds to the postpartum like identity crisis.
Totally.
Because a lot of mothers are like, my work was my whole identity.
Yeah.
Now motherhood's my whole identity. It's like we as moms need to figure out how we can humanity box. Like, it's like we're so much more complex
can we
than
talk
our labels.
And can we talk about how dads aren't doing this?
Oh my God.
Like nobody is.
My husband's identity has remained totally unchecked.
And
it
like
is the same thing.
And nobody is asking them or saying on social media, like, what kind of dad are you? Are you this dad? Are you a working dad?
Don't give yourself up by being a father. They're going to leave you eventually. Everyone's telling dads to contribute more to being it's always the mom.
And it's moms against moms, and it's dads against moms, and it's like single people against moms.
Working moms against stay-at-home moms.
I keep seeing this single woman's podcast come up talking about motherhood issues. I'm like, girl, you just said you don't even have a boyfriend. Why are you talking about this? Everybody has an opinion. And it's like,
no wonder we feel so lost
and overwhelmed. Because everyone's telling us we need to fit in this box. We need to do these things. Don't forget about yourself. Don't forget about your husband. Don't forget about your kids. Oh,
don't forget about your career because you'll never get one again.
Yeah. Oh, you have a gap in your resume. You're never going to be hireable. It's like, can I just figure my shit out? And I think
there's nothing more feminist that someone could do than respect a mother's choice to do whatever she wants.
100%. Like, I think that social media can be a beautiful thing. Like in our situation, we're creating community and we're trying to uplift mothers and talk about how
connecting with all different types of moms
and saying like there's nuance in motherhood, but there is a side of the internet that it's really scary that talks about all of the negatives and how you have to fit in a box. And there's so much noise and it doesn't help anyone. It serves nobody. What I want to talk about when talking about finding yourself postpartum is it's an adjustment and you have to find little pockets that you're like, okay, this is a pocket of the day where I can do something for myself. And maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's 30 minutes.
One thing I want to point out is how a lot of moms postpartum are like, I don't feel the same. Science backs that up.
Right.
Mom brain is a real thing. Your brain literally changes. And I think that it's really important to call that out, because there's a reason why you are feeling all of these identity struggles left and right. And then you add all the noise on social media about different identities. Like you have to label yourself as a working mom, a boss mom, or you're a trad wife. And there's literally nothing in between. You're one or the other.
Right.
And how stressful when you're trying to figure out who you are. And it's like, is this who I am, or is this what all these other people are telling me I need to be?
Totally. And normalize just being like, yeah, I tried that and changed my mind and I want to do something else, or I want to figure out a hybrid, or like I tried the hybrid and I didn't like it, or whatever. Normalize just like trying to figure it out and giving yourself grace along the way, and not saying I'm one way or the other, I'm this, I'm that. You don't have to fit into a box. There's nuance in everything. Everybody's different. Everybody's situation at home is different. Their financial situation, their husband's work, or their partner's work, or they have multiple kids or just one kid. Everything is different.
Yeah.
Like I have a friend who has 3 kids under the age of 4, and she always has worked full time, and she just decided, I'm going to try the stay-at-home mom thing. And she texted me and was like, wait, this is so hard. What did I get myself into? I'm like, girl, it's day 2. Give yourself a second. Like, it's a huge transition.
Yeah.
You got to figure out what works for you. Give yourself grace as you figure it out. Yeah. There needs to be less pressure on being like, figure it out and figure out what you like.
Yeah.
And more like grace and understanding that this is an evolution of who you are.
Yeah.
And it's going to take some time to figure out. I like to go work out at 6:30 in the morning. Other people would be like, what kind of fresh hell is that? Like, I don't know. You just have to figure out what works for you, what works for your family, what works for your baby.
I love the videos that are like, would you accept this job? You work all day. You have no lunch breaks. You have no PTO. In fact, you aren't paid at all. You have no benefit. Would you take this job? And everyone's like, no. In what world? Like, what job is this? It's a stay-at-home mom.
Also, no one values what you do in society.
No one values what you do.
People think that it's not a real job.
You're lazy.
Yeah.
You don't do anything.
You're not financially contribute. You're not productive.
Preschool teachers are so highly regarded.
Right.
And same with daycare center.
Yeah. And people literally get their masters in early childhood development.
Yeah. But stay-at-home moms are so lazy and they just paint their nails at home.
Or moms in general.
Moms in general.
Moms in general. Oh, you're not doing enough. It's never
enough with the labels.
I know. And the like a cultural obsession with productivity.
Yes.
Like, I'm productive as fuck. I create life.
I've actually never been more productive than when being a mom. When I was at my office job, I never could have multitasked the way I do now. And I took a lot more breaks. I certainly was paid more.
And I definitely was more highly regarded in society and like respected.
I wasn't questioned as much about what
I do.
Yeah.
There was way less guilt.
I've even had conversations with some friends. I'll never forget. I was like, I really want to try this workout class.
Yeah.
And one of my good friends was like, I can never go to that because the time is for housewives. And I was like, I get what you're saying.
Sure.
But whoa.
Right.
That was triggering.
Yeah.
And you know, I've actually been in so many conversations with friends where I just kind of like shut my mouth and I'm like, that was interesting that you said that. But it's like, I would never say those things about a working mom. Like, oh, well, like you weren't with your kid all day.
Right.
Like, whoa.
Right.
I just think we need to all look out for each other and respect each other's decisions.
It's the most offensive when it's mom on mom.
Other people are making you feel this way. Of course, you're going to make yourself feel this way. You're going to question all the decisions you're making. Well, how are you ever supposed to feel at peace with the decision? I feel like to this day, I'm still not at peace. I'm like, who am I as a mom? What am I doing? Is it valued enough?
Well, let's normalize that because that's something that new postpartum moms need to hear. Like, I have a 4-year-old, I have a 1.5-year-old, you have a 2.5-year-old and a baby on the way. And like, we are still figuring it out. So let's normalize that there's not a finish line. It's not like one day you're like, all right, baby, I'm back. I figured it out completely. You think about moms who have older kids than you and you're like, they've got it all figured out. We're all just on this planet doing it for the first time. And you realize your parents like had no idea what they were doing either.
I was reading something that was like the postpartum identity shift is the biggest in the world aside from the teenager, like adolescent identity shift, and how identity shifts like that take years to navigate.
Yeah.
And not just like weeks
Of
or
course.
months. And it's just such a good reminder of it's okay if you don't have it all figured out and you feel like your identity is chaotic and has been exploded by a bomb postpartum. That's normal. Your brain has changed. Your body's changed. There's all these societal expectations put on you. And so like,
and there's just so much noise on social media.
So
like,
much
and
noise.
as moms, like we tend to like just pick up our phones and scroll, and we're targeted for mommy content. We're targeted for so much stuff, and that stuff can really get in your head. And I think it's super important to not only look at who you are following and what content is being served to you, but also look at who you're surrounding yourself with.
Yes.
Because sometimes the people around you can be causing you a lot of stress. I've had situations where I'm like, whoa.
Your true friends shouldn't be making you feel like decisions you made are inaccurate
or just like judging your choices.
Yes.
Everybody is allowed to make different choices, and if someone is making you feel any type of way, like judged or stressed out or like anxiety inducing, or like you don't want to tell them something because you're worried about, you know, whatever they think, it's like, okay, well maybe take a step back, because I find it so like, you're way more type B than me, but like I've learned so much from you just to be like, actually, like that doesn't matter. You could stop being so rigid and like, just like, it just doesn't need to be black and white.
Yeah.
And like in the
and
past,
it doesn't have to be heightened all the time.
Totally. Like we can just accept people's decisions. Like it's not my place to be like, oh, that is not the choice I would make. What's it to ya?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Totally.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't affect me.
So what I will say is I do feel like a lot of it though stems from when people have such strong opinions, it's because they don't feel at peace with the options that they have
and the choices
or
that they
the
made.
choices that they've made.
Of course, it's usually a projection of someone else's
because
issues.
moms feel a lot of guilt and
course.
shame surrounding this conversation, and sometimes there is no choice, especially in America. So that's a really big part of postpartum identity crisis and like where this all comes into play, because a lot of moms find themselves back in the office far too early, and they are like, oh my God. On the flip side, a lot of moms go back and are like, thank God.
Totally.
And so let's acknowledge that moms are really complex and we make a lot of different decisions for different reasons.
And all of those feelings are valid, right?
All
like
of
being
them.
like, I got to get out of here. I got to go back to work. Sometimes you're like, I just want to go to work to escape. Or like, you're like, I just want to be home to escape my horrible job. Like all of these things are valid. Or you could be like, I just don't care about climbing the corporate ladder anymore, or I found something that I'm super passionate, like me, and like I found something that I'm so passionate about and I decided to go back to school when I have 2 little kids. What a crazy person. Normalize figuring it out as you go, trying new things and like seeing what works and making decisions based on what's going on in your family and not worrying about so much like what other people are doing. And if something triggers you, like maybe
I think it's just so American.
It is.
Because like when people introduce each other, it's like, what do you do?
Right.
Instead of like, who are you? Tell me about yourself.
Right.
It's like very, and so then you're forced to put yourself in a box. It's like, I'm a mom.
Well,
oh my God, I just was registering for the hospital and it was like employment. And it was like, do I say I teach classes part-time and that I have this or do I write full-time mom?
And
or
also,
like
what is it to them that
why do you need to know?
Isn't that so weird?
I just was filling it out and I always feel like I have this identity crisis.
Yeah.
Because like I don't have a 9 to 5, but it's like, do I name the company that like paid me for part-time work this year or that I'm reporting with taxes, or do I like, it really messes with your head.
Totally. What I started doing, because like I kind of like to see people squirm a little bit. Like people ask me like, what do you do? And I'm like, well, I'm a mom. And then I just like let it sit, because it makes people feel uncomfortable. And
I'll never forget when I went to get my blood drawn and the woman was like, what do you do? And I was like, I'm just a mom. She was like, never say that again to anyone. She was like, I'm a mom and you should never put just in front of it. I was like, whoa, I should know that.
And you should never put just in front of anything, because would a man do that?
No.
Never.
No, they'd be so proud to be a stay-at-home dad. They'd be like, I am a badass.
Totally. And we need to be more like that. But that's just not like typical feminine energy. And like a lot of times our default is to just be like, well, I'm just
downplay
this.
ourselves.
And I just think we need to think like men a little bit more and be like, yeah, I'm like a badass stay-at-home mom, or I'm a badass whatever mom.
Full-time mom.
I'm a mom. That's it.
I'm a mom. That's
like,
it.
That's all you need to know.
No other labels.
I don't
just
need to tell you. Also, it's none of your business. It's just so funny. Like, we have this in America, this thing about like what you do as your profession is like your identity.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's like that other places. Like, I've never
Yeah.
been in another country where someone asked me what I did for a living. Nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Because that's not like, that doesn't tell me anything
Usually
about
it's like,
who you
where
are.
are you from? Like,
Right.
who did you grow up around? Like, what are your parents like? What's your family
Oh,
like?
what do
are
you
your
guys like to
interests?
do? Yeah.
What do you like to do? What are you passionate about?
Should we go do something fun? Like, why are we talking about what I do for work? Like, who cares?
Yeah.
I don't.
Or at least it's like a small part of your identity. It's like
yeah.
a part of the bigger picture.
I just feel like it's more of a thing for other countries. Like, it pays the bills. And then people are like,
Right.
but this is like who I am. That's
Yeah.
what I do to pay the bills. But like, this is who I am. And this is like what
I think
is important to me.
that because that's such a big part of American identity.
Yeah.
It's a big part of why postpartum identity is so confusing.
For sure.
Because the number one thing moms are asked is, when do you go back to work? Are you going back to work? Are you staying at home? What made you decide? It's like
Right.
it's like you're getting an interview from
Totally.
every single person you meet.
Totally.
And like, how stressful.
Totally.
So stressful.
So stressful, especially if you're not sure what you want to do or you're dreading going back. You know what I mean? Like, all
Yeah.
of those feelings, and you're just like, oh.
Yeah.
Another thing that people really put a lot of pressure on is bounce back
Yeah.
and fitting into your clothes again.
How your brain adapts and changes. Your body adapts and changes too. And I'm not just talking about the weight number. Things move around.
Things move around, and I have the tendency to be rigid. And so I'm like, well, this is the number before I got pregnant, so this got to be the number
Right.
again. And I am 17 months postpartum, and I still don't fit into my clothes. And it's super tough for me to deal with that, because like, I am vain and I want to look and feel a certain way in my clothes, and something that I'm working on. And I have to remind myself, like, you're the creator of life. You have 2 babies that you literally not only grew with your body, but then also nourished. Like, yeah, your body is going to look different and feel different, and that's okay. And
that's really cool.
And also, like, I look pretty good anyway.
I mean, it's shocking our bodies can go through this and
then go
like
back.
even look like somewhat close to what they looked like before.
When I think about,
if I'm being honest,
over the past 5 years, the weight fluctuation that I have been through,
or like what you've done with your boobs too.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Like, all of the things, when I think about all of the fluctuations I've been through over the past 5 years, and then I look in the mirror, I'm like, damn, look pretty good. Feel pretty good. You know what I mean?
Who cares if my nipples are different?
Who cares if they point in different directions?
They grew 2 babies.
Literally.
Like, that's crazy.
It's crazy.
And like, flipping the switch matters so much postpartum.
Yes. And reminding yourself, well, like, first of all, like, setting your expectations, right? And just like being like, this is going to take 2 years for me to like feel sort of normal again. I think it takes 2 years.
Yeah, it took me 2 years.
And people will say like, oh, 1 year or 15 months or 18 months or whatever. But I would just err on the side of caution. Like,
Yeah.
give yourself 2 years, whether you go back to work at a certain point or not, whether your baby sleeps with the night or not. Give yourself 2 years, and then
Yeah.
maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised earlier than that.
Yeah.
But I would give yourself 2 years on all fronts postpartum.
Yeah.
Just know that like, it's a rapid time of development for your baby. You're going to go through a lot of changes.
And for you, for your brain.
That's what you're going to go through, a lot of changes in your relationships, in your body, with your baby. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
And so if you're just like, look, this is going to be a wild time for a bit, I'm just going to like
ride the wave
and do what I can to feel normal. And you get these little glimpses, right, of your old life. We were just talking about 18 months. You start being like, okay, I could go out to dinner with my friends after bedtime because I have the mental capacity, physical capacity to go out for dinner or whatever. Yeah. Like, you'll have these glimpses and you'll be like, okay, that filled my cup. But just like looking for little ways to fill your cup.
Yeah.
Also, buying bigger clothes. Buy yourself some things that make you feel good.
And I actually got rid of my pre-pregnancy jeans because
they're probably out of style anyway. Who needs them?
I realized I wasn't going to get there, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And like, I was so sick of feeling like I had to get there.
Yeah.
If you could give someone like a piece of advice who's really struggling postpartum with all the outside noise, what would you say?
I just like always think about my mom and the older generations. I've talked to my grandmas. They used to just be like, don't come home until the sun goes down. My grandma had 4 siblings, and the 2-year-old would go with them all day. It's just like all of this anxiety that we have, it's been created over the past few years.
Have social media telling her who she had to be or how she had to parent.
Or like things to worry about. Of course, things have changed and like there's always an argument to be like, it's not as safe or whatever. But I think that it's a good reminder for me to unclench and be like, all right, some of this anxiety is self-made. It's just like chill out, tune out some of the noise and be like, what matters here? Follow the stuff that's giving you anxiety. Stop hanging out with people that are stressing you out. Make your house safe for your kids so that you don't have to say no all the time. Stop worrying about how your house looks. My house, the entire house is a playroom, and that's okay. That's the season of life I'm in.
Yeah.
I just think like
I definitely
leaning
agree
into
with,
that stuff.
I would tell myself the minute someone is making you feel like they don't respect your choices or that they even should have an opinion on them, just remove.
Yeah, or just
or
like
step
distance.
away.
Distance.
Step away.
You don't have to make it a big thing, but like just distance. Like, okay, maybe I'm not going to hang out with that person as much. Maybe I'm not going to let that person in as much. And just realizing that like social media can be a beautiful place for like connection, right? Like you can connect with people who are in similar situations as you, have babies at similar ages as you, whatever. And that can be a beautiful thing. But also let's remember things can be more simple.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be an entertain your child. I'm just not a DIY like Pinterest mom, and that's okay. I don't enjoy doing those things. I enjoy doing other things. Not everybody has to be like that because that's what you see on the internet.
Yeah. I think I also, if I could go back and tell myself something, it would be like postpartum isn't like a number that you can define in terms of like weeks, months, years.
Yeah.
And so if you're struggling with identity, just giving yourself grace for that identity to evolve over the course of a TBD amount of time.
It's not a race.
It's not a race to feel back to your normal self, because you might not want to go back to your normal self.
And it's not one of those things where it's like, all right, when I get to 12 months, I'm going to feel like myself again. It's not like that person is gone, but it's just like you've changed. Things are different now. I just always think about like how on the weekends I would like go out to brunch with my friends and we'd have mimosas. Like that's just not something that is happening for me these days anymore. And I'm not counting down the days until I can get back there. I hang out with my friends when we go on walks and get coffee now with my kids, or like I go out to dinner after bedtime and my husband is at home. Like things just look different now, and giving yourself grace to like figure out what that looks like. But it's not like a number. Like my kid turns 1 and I'm all of a sudden going to be how I used to be.
Right.
Things have changed. Yeah. And like, if you're feeling anxious, that's normal.
Yeah. And it's scientifically proven. Your brain has changed. Your body has physically changed. Like you should feel validated in the sense that every single mother who becomes a mother feels fundamentally shifted and different.
Yeah, you're not alone.
You're not alone at all. And we're here for you. And tune out all of the different noise surrounding it and let yourself find yourself again over time and gradually. And it's going to be lots of different parts of you coming together. It's a really cool thing.
It's really cool. And it can be fun if you can flip your
script.
Yeah.
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 Flip the script.
We're here for you. Postpartum is wild, and it's fun, and it's exhausting, and it's an experience. So we're here to support you, and thanks for listening.
See you next time.
Bye.